Hey, this is Chris. Hope you're doing well, and welcome to Popcorn Finance, the show where we discuss finance and about the time it takes to make a bag of popcorn. I appreciate you coming back and joining me for the fourth and final episode in our Tiny Living series. This has been a four-part series where each week I've spoken with someone who's chosen an unconventional and tiny space to call their home. We've been traveling across the United States, and we started things out in Orlando, Florida by speaking with Matt and Allie Owen about what it was like living in a van. Then we moved up north to Philadelphia, Pennsylvania to learn about RV life with Eric Sirianni. And then we traveled all the way over to the West Coast to Phoenix, Arizona to talk with Gilbert and Cassandra about what it's like to build and own your own tiny home. And now today we're leaving land and we're traveling back across the country to the Atlantic Ocean, specifically Fort Lauderdale on the west coast of Florida to talk with Michelle Shroeder-Gardner from Making Sense of Sense. And she's going to let us know what it's like to live on a boat. But before we do that, I want to say a big thank you to Airbnb for joining us throughout this Tiny Living series. And if you're looking to make some extra cash and have a spare bedroom or even an entire vacation home that you're not really getting a lot of use out of, why not consider hosting it on Airbnb? By hosting on Airbnb, you can earn money to help boost your emergency savings or your retirement savings, or even put aside some money for a fun family vacation. It's really up to you because you know what? It's your home, your rules. You can host whenever you feel like it. And Airbnb offers a host guarantee that helps protect your property in the unlikely event that something goes wrong. So head on over to popcornfinance.com/Airbnb to start hosting, and you'll receive a $100 cash bonus if you generate $500 in booking value by May 31st. So again, that's popcornfinance.com/Airbnb to learn more and get started. All right, so I hope you're ready to leave land and travel with me to Fort Lauderdale, Florida for my conversation with Michelle Shroeder-Gardner. We were talking before this all got started, and I was going to just ask you a little bit about, your experiences. You've mentioned that you actually have lived in all of the living spaces that I've talked about so far on this series. So a tiny home, a van, an RV, and a boat, which I was not expecting that.
Yeah, we actually used to do some Jeep travel too, pretty extensively, me and my husband and our two dogs. So we've done a little bit of everything.
That's amazing. So are you just really interested in living in spaces that are just not a traditional home?
So we used to own a house. We bought it in 2000, I think it was 2009. We ended up putting it on the market back in 2014. And yeah, I guess so. Living in a house, living in everything else has been a lot of fun. It's all definitely been a different adventure.
So I know on your blog, Making Sense of Sense, you talk a lot about your financial journey and even, your different living spaces that you've been in. Has this all been just part of your financial journey, choosing these different spaces, or is just what you do? You just enjoy it? Just
what I do. It definitely has nothing to do with money.
Okay. And I always like that because, people choose these different living spaces for all different reasons. I always love hearing why people, choose to do these different things. And what I've been getting a lot from people who've been checking out this series, and the question they've been asking me is just like, why? What is the motivation? Like, what is it that pushed you specifically? We'll just focus on the boat since you have great experience on all these other places, but specifically for living on a boat, what pushed you to do that?
Yeah. So we used to live in an RV for about 3.5 years, van RV. We had 3 RVs actually. And we did that just because we really love to travel, to like pull up our RV in different spots and hike right from the RV or go mountain biking and stuff like that. And the same thing kind of applies to the boat. We just wanted a new adventure. We wanted to learn a new skill, which is sailing, bring our boat or home to new places, new countries, and just like new areas of the world and explore it from our home.
Yeah, because it definitely feels like being on a boat frees you up to go to some places that you couldn't necessarily drive to, right?
Yeah, I mean, you could definitely bring your RV around the world. And I hear that a lot, like, oh, well, you can't RV around the world. You can definitely bring it like all around the Americas, Europe, Africa, Asia, and stuff like that. But with the boat, it's like much more sustainable. I mean, with a sailboat, at least, you could sail across the ocean instead. So, I mean, and then sailing is just a lot of fun as well.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that. So there are people who actually take their RV, I guess across the ocean to visit a new continent?
Yep, definitely.
Huh, I guess that makes sense. I didn't even think about that as an option.
You'll have to find someone to interview for that now.
All right, you've added new episodes to the series. So
yes.
What are some of the, challenges that you've experienced, like being on a boat? Like, what is that like? Because, I mean, it feels like that would be much different than any of the other living situations you've been in.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot more challenges. Sailing in itself is definitely a very difficult, never-ending learning process. And then just having to deal with like the weather, the fact that the weather impacts pretty much everything that you do, from sailing, boating, docking, fixing things. And then things on boats break a lot more than they do in an RV as well. And when we lived in the RV, we definitely thought everything was broken. But think back about that and I laugh because everything was not broken compared to now.
So actually, I didn't even ask, where are you situated at right now, since you can really be anywhere?
Yeah, so we actually just sailed back from the Bahamas about 10 days ago, and we spent a few months there and a few months in the Keys. And we're currently in Fort Lauderdale just getting a bunch of warranty stuff done on the boat because it's coming up on 1 year since when we bought it. So we're just working on attacking our list for about the next 2.5 weeks.
Oh, okay. And so did you two have any experience with boats before you hopped into, living on this one?
My husband did. I had like a 10-day sailing charter and that was it.
Oh, okay. So what is that? So I'm not familiar with that. What does that mean?
We rented a sailboat in the British Virgin Islands and we sailed around all the islands over there. So, I mean, it wasn't like living on a boat. I mean, we were living on the sailboat for 10 days, but I mean, you're not like fixing things. And they say living on a boat's just fixing things in exotic places. So, so it was just enjoying the boat and sailing to different island trips. So it was a lot of fun.
This sounds like that would be fun. Did living in these other spaces, so like an RV, a van, a tiny home, did those kind of prepare you for living on a boat? Did that make it a little bit easier, the transition?
Yeah, definitely. A lot of the systems are very similar, like electronics, solar, stuff like that. So, I mean, and living in a tiny space, of course, as well. Definitely all that definitely trains you to live on a boat.
If you don't mind me asking, like, what type of boat is it that you two are sailing around on?
We have a 2018 Lagoon 42. It's a sailing catamaran.
As I asked that question, I realized I'm probably going to have no idea what type of boat this is once you say it out loud. So, I mean, could you kind of like describe it? Like, what would that look like, I guess, if someone were to walk up to it?
So we're 42 feet long, 25 feet wide. I would definitely just have to give you some pictures. It's just a big catamaran. We definitely have big sails. We're 68 feet tall. Just think of like a big sailboat with two holes.
Okay. So does that mean there's like two separate compartments you can go down into?
Yes. Yep. One side is like the guest side and the other side's like our side.
Okay. So on your side, is that like a fully functional side? Like, is everything you need on that one side of the boat?
So when you walk onto the boat, like there's like a aft cockpit, and that's like the outside seating area, the helm station, stuff like that. And when you go inside, right when you walk inside, there's the kitchen, like dining room table, TV, stuff like that. And then when you walk down to our side, that's like they call it the owner's side. And so there would be our bed, like our clothing, dresser stuff, washer, dryer, and then our bathroom. And then if you go on to the other side, that would be 2 guest rooms and 2 guest bathrooms.
Wow, so this is like a pretty good size then.
I mean, it's all very small, but yeah, there's a lot of stuff on it. So it's all just kind of crammed in there.
Oh, okay, gotcha. No, but that's really cool. So do you get opportunity to have guests with you often?
Yeah, we've actually had a lot of guests. Right after we bought our boat, we pretty much had a guest like once a week for like a whole 2 months. We probably have had guests once a month since we bought the boat 12 months ago. So yeah, we've had a lot of guests.
For you and your husband, and even your guests that you've been on this boat, traveling around, what has been, I guess, like your favorite experience or favorite thing about living on the boat?
Definitely the traveling part of it. So in March, we explored so many different islands in the Bahamas, and it was so much fun. Definitely being able to like snorkel, see the clear water, see all the wildlife. Like from our boat last month, we saw like sharks, sea turtles, stingrays, all kinds of fish. And yeah, it's definitely dolphins. It's all super amazing.
Where has been your favorite like destination that you've taken the boat to so far?
I would say the Exumas. We explored the northern Exumas for about a week, but then we had to carry on after that. We went to Eleuthera. So definitely just the Bahamas. I really love the Bahamas.
This life you chose of living on a boat, is this something that I guess you could see a lot of people picking up as a lifestyle, or you think it's maybe just unique to you and your circumstances, or, how difficult would it be for someone to choose this lifestyle?
So they say if you want to live on a sailboat, you should actually like to sail. So, I mean, that's kind of different from RVing. Like, you don't really have to like driving in order to RV. And I met tons of RVers who hated driving. No big deal. But with sailing, I definitely recommend liking sailing because there's so much that goes into it.
Oh, okay. Because, I mean, that is your life now. You have to make sure that you know what you're doing, right? And you're constantly kind of maintaining it. So what would you suggest someone, would there like some route that you would use, or maybe some steps to kind of prepare yourself if you were thinking about doing this? Like, should you get a smaller boat and try it out for a while? Or should this be like something you do on the weekends? Like, I mean, what would someone want to do? Or I guess what would the steps someone would take if they wanted to maybe give this a try?
Yeah, so I definitely think it depends on the person. They could take a course. There's tons of different sailing courses out there. There's courses for women, there's courses for couples, there's courses for just people who are wanting to learn by themselves. So you could take a course to learn all about sailing or even living on a boat, or you could buy a small boat and learn how to sail on your own boat, or you could find a friend who has a boat and learn how to sail on their boat, do a charter trip like I did and charter a boat. There's definitely tons of different options. We've also met several people just like us who kind of just bought a big boat and learned on it. So, I mean, really just depends on what you want to do.
Gotcha. Okay, those are some great options. Appreciate you taking some time sharing, what it's like to actually live on a boat and some of your experiences. And definitely, I would love to share some pictures of your boat and your travels. I've been following you on Instagram, and I think it's really cool seeing the places you've been. And it looks really beautiful just being out there.
Yeah, we really love it.
What would be the best place for people to kind of follow along what you have going on and just kind of keep up with you, or maybe even just send you a message if they want to know more?
Yeah, definitely. So I talk about sailing and living on a boat and stuff on my blog, makingsenseofsense.com. So that would be a great place to start. And then also my Instagram.com/Michelle Shroeder. I talk about just travel probably 99% of the time. So, I mean, it's definitely all sailing pictures on there.
Okay, definitely. I'll put a link to all those places in the show notes. So that way they can go check you out and kind of follow along with your travels. Because I'm living through you because I'll be at work at my desk. I'm like, oh, this is nice. I kind of wish I was here than working on an Excel spreadsheet. So yeah, I'll definitely make sure other people can join me in following your journey.
Yeah, thank you.
Well, thank you, Michelle. I really appreciate your time. And definitely hope you have, safe repairs on your boat and you get a chance to get back out on the ocean. And where's your next destination after you're done with everything you need to do there?
We're hoping to go to the East Coast of the Chesapeake for hurricane season.
Oh, nice. So is it going north kind of avoid some of the chaos of the of the South hurricane season?
It's just kind of what insurance wants, boat insurance. You kind of catch a deal in insurance if you go north. So I don't know. And it seems like it'd be a lot of fun too.
Oh, nice. Well, hope you two have a fun and safe trip up there. Thanks again to Airbnb for being a part of our Tiny Living series. If you're looking for a way to earn some extra money to either boost your savings or pay down some debt, then consider hosting on Airbnb. You can host when you want, how you want, one bedroom or your entire place. It's all up to you. And if you head on over to popcornfinance.com/Airbnb and start hosting, you'll receive a $100 cash bonus if you generate $500 in booking value by May 31st. So make sure you head on over to popcornfinance.com/Airbnb to learn more. Thanks again for traveling with me to our last destination in this Tiny Living series. This has really been a lot of fun. And remember, you can always go to popcornfinance.com/tinyliving to see pictures of all the homes we visited over the course of the past 4 weeks. And that includes pictures of Michelle's beautiful boat. She sent over some images and it's even nicer than I imagined because this is one of the homes I didn't get a chance to check out in person. And I could only just go based off of her description. But when she sent the pictures of the boat over, I was like, I think I might be able to do this. I didn't know if boat life would be for me, but looking at these pictures, it's making me consider it. Not that I have a boat, but it's making me want one. So definitely head on over to popcornfinance.com/tinyliving to check out those pictures and to check out, everything else that we've covered over these past 4 weeks. And also, I'd love to hear from you. So, you've heard me talk about all these different unique homes and spaces that people decided to live in. I'd love to know which one of these spaces could you actually see yourself in? Could you see yourself in a van, an RV, a tiny home, a boat, or are you just like, no, I'm just going to stick with where I currently live? That's a great thing. You don't have to pick any of these spaces if that's not for you, but I'd love to know if you had to choose one, which one would you go with? So a great way to send me your answer is join me over on Instagram. That's where I spend a lot of my time these days and have a lot of fun conversation with a lot of you there. So if you want to join in, just look for Popcorn Finance Podcast on Instagram, and I'd love to hear from you. And if that's not your thing, you're like, I don't really do Instagram. I'm also on Facebook and Twitter. Just search for Popcorn Finance, or you just send me an email to questions@popcornfinance.com. I'd love to hear from you. And I want to give one big final thank you to Airbnb for being a part of this series. Remember, check out popcornfinance.com/Airbnb if you're interested in hosting your room or your entire place. So yeah, I definitely appreciate when you check out the sponsors that I bring on the show. I appreciate your support, and I know that they do as well. Big thank you to all of you for joining me here for another bag of popcorn and for all the popcorn that we've been popping all throughout this series. I hope you all have an amazing rest of your week, and I'll talk to you soon.
Your boy keep it poppin' like Mary Poppins.